The call came at 11:42 on a Tuesday night, and the voice on the other end wasn't my husband's. "We have Andre," it said, low, mechanical, clearly run through some kind of voice distorter. "He's alive. He'll stay that way if you wire $400,000 to the account we send you within 24 hours. Don't call the police. We'll know." Then the line went dead. My name is Elena Vasquez. I'm 36, and I spend my days doing forensic accounting for a firm that specializes in exactly one thing: finding money that people have gone to great lengths to hide. I sat on the edge of my bed at 11:43 p.m., phone still warm against my ear, and felt two entirely different reactions moving through me at once. One was pure animal fear for my husband. The other, quieter, colder, was the specific professional instinct of someone who has spent 11 years listening to people lie about money for a living. Something about that call didn't sound like a kidnapping. It sounded like a script. Andre and I had been married for 6 years. He ran a boutique yacht charter company out of the marina in Cortez Bay, the kind of business that photographs beautifully and bleeds cash quietly, which I only fully understood the year I started handling our joint finances after his bookkeeper quit without notice. I helped him restructure twice. I co-signed a business line of credit I probably shouldn't have. I told myself it was what marriage meant. He'd left for the marina Tuesday morning like any other day, told me he had a late charter to prep for Thursday's booking. He never called to say he'd made it home late. By 10 p.m., his boat slip sat empty and his phone went straight to voicemail. By 11, I'd started calling hospitals. At 11:42, someone called me instead. I didn't call the police that night, not because the caller told me not to, because 11 years of forensic work has taught me that the first 24 hours of a fabricated story are usually the least consistent, and I wanted to see what fell apart before anyone official started asking questions that might get smoothed over too quickly. I called my sister-in-law's husband, a detective named Reyes who worked major crimes 2 counties over and had gone fishing with Andre exactly twice. Off the record, I asked him what a real ransom demand for a mid-tier boat charter owner typically looked like. "Honestly," he said, "it doesn't. Kidnapping for ransom against someone without serious assets is incredibly rare in the States. When it happens, it's usually not staged as clean as what you're describing. No proof of life photo, no specific deadline tied to anything verifiable. That's Hollywood ransom, not real ransom." That was the first thread. I didn't sleep. Instead, I did what I do for a living. I pulled up every account Andre and I shared, and a few I quietly still had read-only access to from when I'd helped restructure the business 2 years earlier. At 2 a.m., I found the second thread, a wire transfer request, drafted but not yet submitted, sitting in the charter company's online banking portal, dated the Friday before his disappearance. Destination, an account in the Caymans I didn't recognize, under an LLC I'd never heard of, named Solstice Holdings. I sat with my laptop glowing in the dark kitchen and felt the same steady, clinical clarity I feel studying a spreadsheet full of numbers someone hoped no one would ever cross-reference. By morning, I had a third thread, a charge on a card I didn't know Andre had at a marine supply store 2 towns north for a self-inflating life raft and a satellite emergency beacon, purchased 6 weeks earlier, delivered to his mother's address instead of ours. I called his mother, Sylvie, told her the police were involved, watched her voice climb half an octave too fast for a woman who supposedly hadn't heard anything. "The police are involved," she repeated. "Already? Shouldn't we wait to see what the kidnappers want first?" She hadn't asked whether Andre was alive. She'd asked about timing.
Detective Reyes came by that afternoon, officially now, and I walked him through everything: the wire transfer to Solstice, the beacon and raft shipped to Sylvie's address, the ransom call with no proof of life, no photograph, no specific communication protocol you'd expect from an actual criminal organization holding a real hostage.
"I want to be straight with you," Reyes said. "This has all the fingerprints of a staged disappearance. Sometimes it's insurance fraud. Sometimes it's someone trying to disappear from debt and start over somewhere the money can't be traced. Either way, the pattern doesn't match a real abduction." "Then where is he?" "If I had to guess," Reyes said, "somewhere with a coastline, waiting for either the ransom money or an insurance payout to clear before he actually goes anywhere permanent." That night, a second call came, not the distorted kidnapper's voice this time, but Andre's own, thin and hoarse in a way that didn't quite match genuine distress. "Elena, please, just pay it. I don't know how much longer they'll—" "Andre," I said quietly, "the wire request to Solstice Holdings has your login timestamp on it, Friday, 9:14 in the morning, 3 days before anyone supposedly took you." Silence stretched long enough that I could hear waves in the background, not the ambient hum of a captor's hideout, but the specific, unmistakable slap of water against a hull. "I can hear the marina behind you. You're not tied up somewhere, are you?" The call ended without another word. Reyes traced the second call's tower ping to a stretch of coastline 40 minutes north of Cortez Bay, home to a small private marina that, according to county slip records, had a boat registered under Solstice Holdings, LLC, the same name from the wire transfer. They found Andre the next morning aboard a chartered sport fisher he'd apparently been planning to take further south once the funds cleared. No captors, no proof of life photographs, because there had never been anyone to take them. Just a life raft still in its factory packaging, a satellite beacon, a go bag with 3 passports, 2 of them under names that weren't his, and $11,000 in cash. Under questioning, it came out slowly. The charter business had been 3 payments from default on its business line of credit, the one I had co-signed. Rather than tell me the truth, rather than face what 6 years of quiet financial optimism had actually cost, Andre decided the cleanest way out was to disappear entirely, stage a kidnapping urgent enough that I'd drain my trust to pay a ransom that would conveniently land in an account he already controlled, then vanish south before anyone thought to ask where the kidnappers had gone. Sylvie had known about the boat, the beacon, the go bag. She hadn't known the specifics of the ransom call, but she'd known enough to understand her son was planning to leave and had helped him quietly stage the departure without once telling me. He was arrested on charges related to fraud and filing a false police report. Sylvie was questioned but never charged, the evidence against her too circumstantial to hold. I didn't feel the relief I expected to feel watching him led out of that marina office in handcuffs. I mostly felt tired, the specific exhaustion of realizing you spent 6 years quietly subsidizing someone's optimism, right up until the day that optimism decided it was easier to fake his own emergency than admit the truth to the person who'd been holding the business together beside him the whole time. I filed for divorce within the month. The business line of credit I'd co-signed became, unfortunately, entirely mine to untangle. But untangling numbers is the one thing I've always been good at, and 6 months later, I'd restructured my own finances into something clean and entirely separate from anything with Andre's name on it. Reyes checked in periodically, first professionally, then, once the case closed, just as a friend. He was patient in a way Andre never quite managed to be, the kind of patient that comes from a job built entirely around waiting for the truth to surface on its own timeline instead of rushing it.
I think about that first phone call sometimes, the fear, and underneath it, almost immediately, the instinct that told me something about the story didn't add up. I've spent my whole career finding the places where numbers and stories stop matching each other. I just never expected to need those instincts inside my own marriage, in the middle of the night, with my heart still hammering from a threat that it turned out had never really existed at all. What I learned is this: real danger rarely announces itself with a script this clean, and sometimes the person you're most afraid of losing is the one who was never actually in danger to begin with, just looking for the easiest way to disappear from a truth he didn't have the courage to tell you himself. If this story kept you guessing the way it kept me up that night, let me know in the comments where you thought the twist was headed before it actually landed. New story every week. Stick around for the next one.